Hello, I'm Morris Kochanski, Wilderness Living Skills and Survival Instructor specializing in the boreal forest. Our topic here is going to focus on the means of lighting fire that I term the metal match. We have a collection of, or a fraction of the collection of what I own. Here we have the metal match as I encountered it, perhaps mid-60s. Norton came out with this little rod that's probably about 1/3 the length. It was close to this same size in general, and first of all you found that they put the fluorescent end on here and then a keychain. Keychains don't hold fluorescent, often disengages, so you lost a lot of them that way. But we used this till it was worn out, and I sort of figured I mastered the means of lighting a fire this way, which to me was perhaps putting us into the space age. You know, the space age, we've got the paracord 550-200 and the mylar blanket and the rod, and you're looking at space age approach to dealing with certain problems in the forest. I met Lars Folt, and this was getting very difficult to get, and so back in Sweden he came out with the Yuca Stick, which is one form of metal match. Some suppliers will sell you rods like this, and you got to put your own ends on. And if you drill your own hole, put it on a lanyard, you'll discover how incandescent the electric drill will become. This would be probably commonly available in almost every sporting goods store. And there was a certain point after I had become familiar with this rod that the United States Air Force survival people would get these long rods. They were 40 some inches long, and they would cut them into sections, drill holes, and this was basically what they supplied to their instructor in the United States Air Force. You will find that these rods corrode very readily. Now, over here is a device that is magnesium, and we see aluminum here. We unscrew this and we find that this end is the metal match, to be protected from moisture, because when this is subjected to constant moisture, you'd almost swear it dissolves rather than corrodes. So to protect that, you have another case here. So soldiers might put amphetamines in here because it'd be handy that way, and then this ends up being a defensive device called a Yuca Stick. You can see that in the multiplicity of uses. The situation is that you know you're getting good with a metal match if you can light a candle directly with the rod. And you will find that the biggest problem with these metal matches is the part that does the scraping. You could use a sharp rock to make this scrape, but the situation is that this is 3/4 of the game and the scraper is 1/4. I specifically like the knife that I'm using, like this skookum, that the back has got very sharp corners, so that when you give a good scrape, you usually light your fire in the first stroke, rather than scraping and stroking and missing. And perhaps an extension of any knife, you could have a sheath for your metal match, so it's always with your knife. So you got your knife, you got your fire, and be properly dressed, and what else do you really need? The circumstance here is that to be good at lighting a fire this way, you must be trained and you must work at it. It isn't one of those things like flick the bic and you've got flames. So you often see people sort of playing with these, and after a while they give up and say that there's nothing good going for them. But I would say that there is no method of lighting a fire that's as dependable, invincible, indestructible, and effective as the rod. And if you learn to master it the way it should be mastered, you will find that it sure takes care of that issue of getting a fire going under any circumstance.